Hey, what's up, everybody? How's it going out there? Dappa11 here with another Star Wars action figure review. This time from Star Wars The Legacy Collection, Build a Droid, Battle Damaged Darth Vader, first day of issue. Now, this is one I've been sitting on for a little bit, but with The Force, or I should say Rogue One, right around the corner, and with it being the month of October and Halloween and all coming up, figured it was time to step away from what I've been reviewing lately, and that's a bunch of Tatooine stuff. Figured it's time to do a little dark character here. Of course, who is darker? Well, that's relative, but we all know the beloved Darth Vader and his redemption from the dark side. But let's take a look at the read back here. And another reason why I wanted to bring this up, or I should say review this, is due to the fact of the profile back here, which I'll read, which will, I believe, relate to Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. A fierce battle with the newfound Rebel Alliance aboard the Death Star has pushed Darth Vader to the brink of defeat. Beaten and broken, the Dark Lord of the Sith is the closest he's been to death since Obi-Wan Kenobi defeated him on the burning shores of Mustafar. Now, this is interesting because, of course, it states here that the newfound Rebel Alliance aboard the Death Star. And that's pretty much essentially what's going to come up in Star Wars Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Because we don't know of any battles that Darth Vader had after the destruction, or I should say since his victory over Obi-Wan Kenobi, and or during, well, plus that was pretty much the closest to the beginning of the Rebel Alliance. So I think that this is, even though this is, what year is this from? Even though this is from 2008, it's pretty reasonable to believe that Darth Vader is going to get messed up in this next movie that's coming up. And that would also answer another question as to why Darth Vader was pretty much slow in his movement against his battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the theories out there are that he had a new suit, new mechanisms and whatnot, and that it restricted his movement, and that is why he was slow in his movements against Obi-Wan Kenobi, is because he had not yet adjusted to the new armor and potentially limbs and whatnot. And as we can see here through the card, he looks pretty messed up. Also, in this picture right here, he looks rather younger. So, interesting. So, let me go ahead and open them up and continue on. All right, I have them out of the package, and thus far, I am very impressed with this character. This is very, very well done. But before I start, being with this is Darth Vader, and we have Rogue One, and I've already kind of dropped my 2 cents on what I think is going to happen in the film. I want to share something with you that I haven't really seen covered in a lot of these fan theory videos. I will, in the future, before the movie comes out, have a theory that's been tested and proven by George Lucas himself. But let me tell you something about Darth Vader and the meaning of the Skywalkers. Okay? Darth is a corruption of the word dark. Vader is father in German. So he is the Dark Father. He is a former Skywalker. Luke in Latin is lux. Lux is light. He is the light that walks across the sky. So Luke, in A New Hope, has a twin sister. Luke, essentially, in mythology, is Apollo. Apollo was known to have a bow and arrow. A bow is an arc. When we look at the sun from the perspective of the observer on Earth, the sun arcs as it rises and sets. The arrow is symbolic of the sunlight hitting the Earth. His twin sister is Leia, who wears the white gown, which is symbolic of the white gleaming light off of off of the moon. Apollo's sister was Artemis in Greek and Diana in Roman times. She too had a weapon of the bow and arrow. The moon itself also moves, of course, as would appear on the observer here on Earth, arcs across the sky. The bow is an arc. The arrows being symbolic of the moonlight reflecting, or the sunlight off the moon, penetrating Earth. So there are the arrows. So here we have the Dark Father, the sun eclipsed. It's a very beautiful story. If you want to know more about it, I highly recommend looking into videos pertaining to Joseph Campbell, who was the author of A Hero with a Thousand Faces, The Hero with a Thousand Faces. George Lucas has admittingly, in many interviews, stated that no Joseph Campbell, no The Hero with a Thousand Faces, no Star Wars. Very interesting, very interesting. So here we have a Skywalker, Darth Vader, the Dark Father, a Skywalker, a light being who is eclipsed, and by the end of Return of the Jedi, he has redeemed himself and he's returned back to light. Very deep hidden messages, a very deep hidden story within Star Wars that a lot of people don't seem to see. But then again, if you're familiar with history and mythology, this is probably not new to you. But I digress. I just wanted to share that with you, my friends. So back to the figure here. So we can see really nice and shiny. There are just maybe a couple small details in the paint that ran a little bit on the glove right here, or I'm not on the glove, on the belt. So the paint just is a little off, but nothing is perfect. Now let's get to the character. You can see he's nice and shiny. Now notice the upper part of the armor. This part comes off, reveals a part of his left pectoral and rib. So we can see the articulation, his arms laterally raised quite high to where his movement is not obstructed by the shoulders here, or restricted by the shoulders pads, armor. So I really like the articulation with the shoulders. They go up really high, like that. It's ball joint, typical of the Star Wars. Now, if anything is lacking, it would be the articulation in at least the left elbow, and in the right he does have ball joint articulation. Okay? Okay. So here we have rotation superior to the wrist, also superior to the elbow on the right arm. And let's just take his helmet off since it wants to come off. And we can see here. And here's Darth Vader's face. Now, in this picture, it looks like maybe he definitely looks older here than he does in the picture on the cardboard backing. But he's not aged like he was in Return of the Jedi. Thus, it leads me to reasonably believe that this is going to occur probably before A New Hope, because he still looks rather young, maybe a few years older than he was in Revenge of the Sith. All right, so you can see here with the way that the chest armor comes off, it looks as if some type of, well, whether you want to see a lightsaber or some type of sharp-edged object comes across right here. You could argue that. Now, as far as articulation, he does have rotation in the midsection. He did not come with this. This is from Marauders on eBay. Really good stands. So he does have ball joint articulation, at least on the right. Okay, and on the left. So he does rotate. Now you can see here with his armor, that's really cool, his foot. This comes off, and then it exposes, of course, the left lower extremity, or what would be his tibia and fibia, calf area. And I really like how they have the entire extremity visible, so we can look at it. Now you can see the detail of his lower left leg. Even rotation with the foot. Man, this is a really nice character. And you can see here even more nice detail where the robotic limb goes right into the flesh of the femoral, or the femoral bone or thigh. You see a little bit of damage on the left humerus area. This does not come off. Let me try it here. Nope. Yeah, wait a minute. He does have okay, he does. I stand corrected here. So he does have ball joint articulation. Oh, and it does come off. My bad. Okay, so this part comes off as well. And we can see, again, the detail of the left robotic forearm going into the humerus. Like this bone would be the humerus, and this would be the radial bone and ulna bone. So it's replaced with this robotic extremity, and it ties right in. You can see where it even has the latches to hook into the flesh. Very nice, Hasbro. Very nice. Okay, he also has the excuse me, the rotation at the forearm. Okay, cool. So he's got the same rotation and articulation on the left extremity as he does on the right. Okay, so we see here, is there any lateral movement with the hips? I don't believe so, but his leg does come up. So I don't think there's any other parts that come off, but there is a little detail I want to show you on the back. And that is the detail of his cloth cape. Let me get him on. Well, let me show you the hole on the bottom. So there's the holes on the bottom. See on these Marauders gun runners, it's got one for the older figures, a peg for the older figures, and a peg for these newer ones. The only thing with these is that, they also connect to one another, so it's really cool. So here we have all the holes and damage and whatnot, whether they be from a vibroblade, lasers, lightsaber. It's anybody's guess. So let's take a look at the back of his head. We can see the scarring. No bushy eyebrows, like he did have in Return of the Jedi. This is a really cool character. I like this this mold and everything. That does not come off. Head rotates left and right. It doesn't go up and down, but I'm fine with that. A little bit of damage right here on the, excuse me, just below the right deltoid. So it looks like he slashed his anywhere from the deltoid, tricep to the bicep. I dig it. I dig it. I dig it. Lightsaber is a little bit bent, but that's just from packaging. But I have so many lightsabers it doesn't matter. And then we can see some pretty good detail. So I guess that might be just about it. This part is a little bit damaged right here. The waist cloth. Well, it's not cloth, but it's plastic, but I think you know what I mean. So we get to take a look at how this is. Well, okay. Well, I think I might have covered it. I hope I did. Well, there we have. Oh yeah, I knew I was potentially forgetting something, and that is the head to what's this droid? R4D6. So now I have the head and the third leg. I have the body loose. So of course that would go on here, and then this would go down here. But I'll do that when I open up the Han Solo and Luke Skywalker for Tatooine, Revenge, or Return of the Jedi, because they have the legs that go with them. So there we have it, the body parts, or I should say his armor. 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. On a 1 to 10, I don't think for some reason, I don't know why I haven't done too many 1 to 10 scales, but I'd have to give this guy a good strong 8.5, maybe almost a 9, just due to the fact that he is really damaged. I think they did a very good job. I like the fact that he's got the robotics, the details, as I've already covered, where the robotic extremities come in contact with this flesh. It's just a really overall good character. I'm glad I got this guy, and even more happy that I was able to open him up. But I do think it's interesting. I'm going to call it right now. I think he gets jacked up in Rogue One. And I think that will also answer the question as to why he was so slow in A New Hope against Obi-Wan. because he adjusts to the armor. Now, I know that theory's been covered before, but by others. But I really think that, especially with reading this cardboard backing, it's really key in the words. Fierce battle with the newfound Rebel Alliance aboard the Death Star has pushed Darth Vader to the brink of defeat. So it's really interesting. Who is going to do this amount of damage? Is it going to be X number of the main characters that we've seen in the trailers so far? Or is there going to are we going to see a potential lightsaber wielding, maybe non-force using character? It's interesting. I mean, you know, I did speculate that we'd see a lot of damage from Darth Vader to the Rebel Alliance, but I've not heard anybody mention about the damage he's going to receive. So think about that for a minute. Well, I'm not sure what else to add with this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll add some diorama photos towards the end of this video so you can see them in detail and pause it and whatnot. But I think that's just about it. I think I've done enough talking, and I really appreciate your time. And hey, everybody take care. May the Force be with you. And until next time, everybody, see you next time.